Call to order, Muncie Park and Recreation Board meeting, Tuesday, November 19th. Would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Chandra Parks.
Here.
James Lutton.
Here.
Mark Irvin.
Here.
Shannon Powers.
Here.
Brad Marshall.
Here. First on the agenda, we've got the approval of minutes from the October meeting. There's no discussion or revisions. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Moved. Second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Superintendent report with Mr. Carl Malone.
All right. Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
First on the report is the feedback from our state conference we had in French Lick, Indiana. It was well attended with various people from around the state. A lot of information about parks, water aquatics. I spent my time talking with all the vendors there that had information about pools, talking about the splash pads, talking about the pit area, which is considered pit for us, but it's backwashing of our pool. It's been noted that our pool has been there since 2008, I think, was the last renovation. And if you do the background, if you've done some background on pools, anywhere from 5 to 10 years, there's time to make some improvements to your facility. And so I had conversation with individuals about our particular pool design. It's definitely outdated, and we probably should be visiting time frame when we could put a plan together to make a renovation of our pool itself. So got some good information on that. Spears Aquatics contact there at the state conference. They've already been down to Toohey's site and took some visual pictures and some measurements of our splash pad. And I'm waiting for him to get back with some numbers. Then we can begin to take a look at that and see if it's affordable, something that we can afford. But he was very nice at the conference, and he came right down like he said and met me there and took some measurements. So also Vortex, the organization that put in our 4 splash pads, was there. I kind of talked a little bit about some of the concerns that we had this year, some of the troubleshooting issues that we had going on, and some of the things that we want to try to not have delay us from opening for the upcoming 2025 season. And so we'll be on the phone, we'll be on some Zoom calls with Vortex and see if we can't get a better handle on timeline on opening of the pool. A lot of times we were waiting, they only had one field person, and he was on a project somewhere else, then we had to wait till he got done with that project. So, but overall, good conference and a lot of good information. And one of the things that the state conference wanted to make sure we were aware that we can use them for resources by way of phone call or email or conference call, things of that nature, if we got any questions about pools. So our winterization is completed at Toohey's. We still have some minor cleaning that we're going to do here in the next couple of weeks, and then we should be good to go with all of our cleaning and our winterization as I know it to be. Our bathhouse, which has been there for many years, and they came out and made an inspection. I think community development was pretty much the spearhead of that particular project, but they did come out and take a look at our roof there on the old bathhouse. Park restrooms, we finished winterization on all the bathrooms at our parks to include Halterman as well. On the parks, we have removed pickleball nets, except for Store State, their net is still up. I thought I had Ryan's number, and I'm gonna look again at the office and see if I have it to see how they want to move with removing those nets. They want us to do it from a park standpoint, or is the neighborhood want to keep them in place and things of that nature. So, but we have removed all the other nets in our city parks. And then as well as picnic tables, we've stored them away. And what we do in the winter months is restore any picnic tables and benches that we need. And we also paint and then get a head count and get those ready to go back out in the spring. Staff has just been busy really cleaning the parks, picking up trash, trimming, pruning, and then mulching. Mulching, of course, is always something that we do during this time of year. Riverview Park, we don't have any completion on the restrooms as of yet. Still kind of waiting on direction from the city in terms of timeline. It may look like it may be 2025, maybe, unless something happens before that. But it looks like the completion of Riverview along with Thomas could happen simultaneously 2025. But everything else, it seems to be working fine there at Riverview. The playground, we made some adjustments to that. That's fine. The shelters, everything else was good other than the restrooms. I think that's the last piece we got there at Riverview. Of course, if everybody knows, West Side Park, we finally have the skate park construction underway. And I think the completion for the skate park is projected sometime in 2025, maybe late spring, early summer. And then we also, down at the state conference, I was able to meet with the commercial recreations about replacing the old playground at West Side Park. And we're going to meet with them on Thursday to walk through West Side Park and kind of look at that playground area. So our thinking is if with the new skate park, if we can have a nice playground put in place, make some renovations to the basketball court and the softball court as you come in off of White River and Tillerson, that would be a nice park to catch a lot of eyes. So one end on Tillerson, other end on Batavia, and then just try to make some renovations in between that location. So that's the plans for the parks for 2025 is to kind of focus on West Side as well as Heacon Park and Alshire. So we have 3 parks on the radar that we like to make some renovations to. Any questions?
Questions for Carl? On the Riverside, I've not been engaged with the neighborhood association, but I assume you guys have and keeping them in the loop on the status there.
Yes, I've had conversation with Frankie Scott over by via phone. I didn't make the last month's neighborhood meeting, but I did talk with him over the phone, and so I have been in contact with him and Ken Hudson as well about timeline for the Riverview installation of the restrooms.
Thank you, Carl. Any other questions for Carl?
All righty, thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we've got Mr. George Foley with Parks Programming and Event Approvals.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Wanted to start off with some really good news. On January 4th and 5th, we're going to have our first youth employment and resource fair through the Muncie Teen Internship Program. We've already gotten approval. We're going to have it at Minnetrista. It's going to be a 2-day event. Northwest Bank is sponsoring the event for us. And so on the first day, we'll be taking applications for our summer program. And if we hear about the year-round program, hopefully we can incorporate that on that day too. But as of right now, we're going to be taking applications for the summer program. we'll be doing on-the-spot interviews. So some of our partners will be there, like the YWCA, Eco Rehab, Second Harvest, and some other business. They'll be there helping us do some interview with some youth, so we're trying to stay ahead of the game. Also on that day, we'll be having a couple of workshops, and we'll be helping some youth building their resume. So we've already got confirmation with our human resource department, Ball State Ivy Tech. They all want to help come and volunteer, help kids build their resume. So any of the volunteers that want to help, we're inviting them to be there to help the youth build their resume. And also, we'll be having a workshop on financial literacy, which will be done through Northwest Bank too. And then on the second day, it'll be an actual job fair for kids wanting to work more than just in the summer. So we've already got commitments from about 6 companies, like Walmart South, Payless Grocery Store, Fazoli's, just to name a few. They'll be there accepting applications, doing on-the-spot interview for high school teenagers. And then also, we'll be having a workshop, anybody that want to be an entrepreneur, and then we'll be having a class on how to dress for an interview. So, and then lastly, we'll be having some resources there. So we're going to ask organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, the Ross Center, Concrete Rose, all of them to be there, just so the parents can be there with their kids, engaging and find out what's available in the city for their youth for 2025. So we're excited about that. We've already putting the word out. We're going to continue to put the word out for the first of the year, but mainly we're going to need a lot of volunteers for those 2 days. And that weekend is the weekend before all the youth go back to school. So we've already shared it with the middle school and high school and Muncie community schools. We've shared it with some of the youth that worked in the past. So we're looking to have a big crowd out there that day. I've shared with a flyer with the board, so if y'all can just please share with any youth that y'all are looking for work, either for the summer or year round, they can come to that event. Secondly, we had a event at TUI. It was called Dream for the Future of TUI. Dr. Powers showed up there. We partnered with Normal City Neighborhood and basically just kind of gave people a chance to look at the parks and then look at TUI, the pool. The biggest success was the old bathhouse. Our staff did a great job of cleaning up the bathhouse, and so we took people of a tour of the old bathhouse, of possible work changes we may want to make with that, which right now we know they'll be having a new roof put on there, and then it's also been contracted to cut out the trees around the building, so the roots don't go into the pipes and everything like that. So that's already been contracted. That work will be done here within the next month or two, thanks to community development. They're the ones that's funding that for us. But it was a great tour. Had free food for everybody. We were able to get ideals from the neighborhood and people in the city, what programming they would like for us to have for the pool and in the park possibly. So it was a great conversation. Dr. Powers, myself, we talked about some aquatic stuff that we'll be doing next summer. So it was a nice crowd for that event. And that was on Wednesday, October the 23rd. As far as grants, Dr. Powers, she submitted a grant for Musco Lighting. That was submitted on November the 8th. And then we should get notification about that on December the 20th. On the negative side, we did not get approval for the NBA Foundation grant, which would have been some of the funding that would help with the year-round program. But Dr. Powers did a great job on that grant. That's just a very competitive grant that's nationwide. So they did let us know that we did a great job on the application. They encouraged us to apply again next year, but they just only had limited funding this time. And then we did make the second round of the Pacer Foundation grant, which will be renovation to the basketball court at Heakin Park and the lights. And so we'll get they're going to come and visit the court on December the 31st. And then on January the 20th, they'll let us know if we're a finalist. And then on February 28th next year, they'll they'll notify the winners of that grant. So we should know by the end of February if we're up for that grant.
And then also, we're still waiting to hear about the IU Community Impact Grant. And we should know in December, but they didn't give us a specific date, so.
Yeah. Yep. And then on October 19th, we had our last event for the year, which was our trunk or treat. We had over 1,000 kids. We had some people kind of clocking it. I would say it was a lot of kids, but it was a great turnout. It keeps growing every year, and so had a good time. The weather was good. We even had Carl out there with one of his fancy hats on. He was out there socializing, but the kids had a great time. A lot of candy. Walmart South was a really big contributor to that. They had a lot of candy that we were to share with some of the other cars that were decorated. But I just want to say, because I may not be here, I can tell Carl may not be here next month. I'm gonna try to get away for a couple of days in December. But I want to thank the board. I want to thank Superintendent Malone, everybody for trusting me this year. This was probably our best year of programming. We did a lot this year. I was telling Carl, I was looking back at what we did and what we were involved in, and some of the things that people don't see is, we work 7 to 3, but we work way past 3 o'clock a lot of days. We have events in the evenings. We go to a lot of neighborhood meetings and talk about parks and talk about programs, and just a lot of organizations come and want to meet with us. And so we're proud of ourselves, of the work that we put in this year for the parks. And once again, I want to thank the board. You guys have never gave us any negative impact. You always gave some positive input and supported everything that we came in front of you about. So once again, I want to thank y'all for a great year.
Thanks, George.
Any questions for me at the moment?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any events for approval?
Yeah, I got one for you. So what we're doing, what I'm doing right now is, this is not at a park, but this is for the baseball field game bridge. So this is one that I'm gonna present to you. It comes from Muncie Sports Commission. Their executive director is John Anderson. And so it's called the MSC Cardinal Classic Tournament 2025. It's a series. So they have like eight baseball teams that play per weekend, and they're expecting about 305 people to participate in this. The dates that they would like to use our field will be June 6th through the 8th, June 13th through the 15th, June 20th through the 22nd, June 27th through the 29th, June 11th through the 13th, and then, July 11th through the 13th, and then July 18th through the 20th. And so that's pretty much Friday through Sunday, which would be 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. The only thing that they're requesting is you use our PA system, which we have one. We have speakers and stuff already set up there with microphones, but they will be paying to use that baseball field. So they used to use Ball State. I don't know what happened, so they asked to use our field. So I'm presenting this in front of the board today. If you like, I can send you all a copy of the contract that they send. They do have liability insurance that they presented to us to have this baseball series.
Does that conflict with any other scheduled events we have over there?
It may. Me and Carl talked about, there's Legion Baseball, and I did give a call out to Ken, awareness of, the weekends that they was wanting to use this. But I promised Mr. Anderson that I would present this to the board in November.
Can you talk to us about the conflict? Is it?
Yeah, so Legion has used the field years, even when it was Lafferty Field. They have like a summer high school team, travel team league that plays on there. And sometimes they play on the weekends. A lot of times, if they do a weekend, it's like a tournament. It's a tournament, they may do some, but a lot of the games are during the weekdays. So Ken, he is trying to put his schedule together. But I had just wanted to present this to the board because I promised Mr. Anderson that I would.
So we don't know how much of an overlap?
We're not sure at the moment until Ken presents his schedule to us.
Did he have any timeline on when he was going to be able to get their schedule together?
He didn't. I can reach out to him tomorrow if you like and see how long it would take him to put his schedule together.
The other, sounds like we've got quite a few teams there. Did they have any accommodations for security, or how did they plan to handle that?
That's a good question. We've never had to have security for Game Bridge for of any status that I know of, but usually it's just the Legion and Burris and Central playing on that field mostly. It won't be a conflict for us doing programming because we usually do it during the week in the mornings, our programming during the summer.
Yeah.
So, but security, I'm not sure about.
What's the age range of the players? Is youth or adults or?
These are youth.
Okay.
I would say high school.
Any other questions?
No.
So I think my recommendation on this one, unless did he have any urgency on needing to get it approved in November? Can we table this till December, or what was his,
Yeah, I think he'll be okay with it. I'll make him aware that we tabled it till December.
so my
we
main
reach out to
concerns
Ken?
would be our scheduling conflicts. I'd like to prioritize the pre-existing contracts and agreements we've got with the other teams, and then the security. Would
Okay.
Definitely be my two concerns. If we can
Okay.
get some answers on
Didn't
those.
you say he has security, though?
No.
Insurance.
Oh, he has liability.
He has liability, right.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about security, yes.
I have 300 out there that
Yeah.
provide some exposure for us.
Plus, we should be universal with that policy
Yep.
across.
I think those would be the questions, and then we can, if you're not here, if he can present or if he can get some
Okay.
answers to us for the December meeting, we can review that.
Okay, sounds good. I'll let him know. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, a little bit of change here on the agenda. We've got Thad Kissick and the Prairie Creek Trails Group, some representation here, so I want to give them an opportunity to talk about the things going out there on the trails.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. I didn't prepare anything, so let's hope this doesn't turn into a rambling, mumbling, stumbling mess. I am here. My name's Thaddeus Kissick. I am a Muncie resident. I am a volunteer at Prairie Creek Trails. Before I forget, I am here with several other of our volunteers that raise your hands when I call your name. We've got Mike O'Neill, Jeff Fuller, Todd Brees, Del Brinson, and Shannon Ashby. I'd like to mention a few others who couldn't be here tonight. Cameron Hill, Pete Bowyer, we have John Cheney, and Brian Kofer, as well as Jesse Floyd. So the reason we're here tonight, a couple of reasons. First of all, I actually watch these meetings online, and during the Prairie Creek section, all the other user communities out there have had pretty good representation from the Friends of Prairie Creek or the camping or the boating community or the sailing club or the light horse club, and we have never been to any of these meetings, yet we have been volunteering out there for some of us up to 10 years. So that was one of the reasons. The other reason, if we can, did you give the map?
Yep, everybody's got a map.
Okay, so in the news recently, the city was awarded an additional grant to extend one of the trails from our park up toward the beach area, which is listed on this map as the multi-use gravel trail, which is like 2.5 miles long, okay? So That trail, I believe, was funded in a similar way as this new extension is. The city applied for grant money, and so what that means is the way those were funded, we as a volunteer group do not maintain the multi-use gravel trail. So that is, as far as we understand, the park department's responsibility. But the other 8 trails you'll see listed there, those are the ones that we maintain. And by maintaining, what I mean is, so every early summer, end of May through end of June, we go out there and we trim all 8 of those trails. These are rugged trails. They do not, you cannot really get a mower into many of them. So this is on foot with a trimmer over your shoulder, and you're carrying your water, your gas, your tools, all of that stuff. It's very labor intensive, and we have been doing it for quite a while now. So the challenge out there is the invasive species. So honeysuckle, autumn olive, and the emerald ash borer beetle. So the first 2 are super invasive species that basically they want to grow these trails closed. If there was no maintenance done, that's what would happen. We get away with about a month of work, and that lasts for the whole year, but it is a lot of work. It's 5 miles of trail we're trimming on foot. You have to trim both sides of the trail. It's a little pedantic, but that doubles the mileage. So it's 10 miles of trimming that this group does and has been doing. The ash borer beetle has killed dozens of ash trees in that corner of the park, and those come down year round. So most of us in this group are mountain bikers, and we ride out there 12 months a year. So the good news is when trees come down, we know about them right away and we clear them. The multi-use trail, even though it's not ours to maintain, we will clear trees when they fall there. So that is through most of the year. But the beginning of the year, usually late March, early April, we organize a litter pickup at the trails. And I will say the people who visit our trails do a very good job about not littering. So you wonder, why do you have a litter pickup? It's because we're working the 2 half-mile sections of county road on the outside of the park. So the litter we're picking up is the litter that motorists are throwing out their car window when they go by the park. So we organize that with Tawny in the park office. They're a help. Our volunteers will bag the litter and leave them by the side of the road, and then Tawny will arrange for park staff to come by in a truck and collect the bags that we leave. So we don't have to do that, but next spring we'll have it again. It'll be our 7th annual. So we've been doing that for years now on top of the maintenance inside the park. And I would like to point out the trimming work that's done. Most of us are using our own equipment with our own supplies, running gas that we bought with our own money. Some of us have been doing this for 10 years now. So that, I think, without exaggerating, I could say we've literally volunteered thousands of person hours and thousands of dollars of our own money. We are not a 501c3. We're all full-time employees somewhere with families, wives, kids. We do this on the side of our free time. So we're always looking for more volunteers, and frankly, we're going to have them going forward because everyone, all of us, I don't know, I think all of us are in our 50s. We have some younger folks, but they're not here tonight. But we need more volunteers. So if anyone watches this and is unfamiliar with what Prairie Creek Trails is, I would say go to Facebook and search for us. We have years worth of posts going back and back and back with some of the challenges we've had with bad actors in the park and things of that nature. So I just wanted to come and say hello to the board. I don't know going forward how often we'll be able to attend these, but I did want to say hello and kind of let everyone know what we do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have a few questions
Yeah,
for you.
your question.
Have you solicited or partnered with different groups to possibly garner some volunteers?
Over the trails as they appear on that map have been there like that since 2020, but the earliest trails actually go back to 2014 or around that time frame. There are some small bridges and things in the park that were built by TeenWorks years ago. Boy Scout Troop 22 has come out and helped with the litter on multiple occasions, things of that nature, but not really beyond that.
Okay. There are some groups, some environmental groups, like at Ball State. And you do that in April? When is the big day?
So the litter
April, right?
collection's early April,
Yeah.
and then the trimming goes on pretty much off and on for a month from the end of May through the end of June.
Yeah, there's some environmental student organizations. And they're still on campus during April. So maybe you could we could exchange information.
Sure.
There's a organization called the Student Voluntary Services, where we can invite students to sign up if you've got dates already established, or maybe somebody works at Ball State. I bet you have a volunteer that works at Ball State, but that would maybe able to set this up, or I could. Plus, there's also Make Muncie Beautiful, which is it's Dr.
They do the river cleanups, do they not?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't
Partnered
reached
with
out to
them?
them, no.
I think this is something that they would be interested to at least to know about.
Sure.
And possibly participate. But with the new trail that's going, how much of the multi-use trail are you cleaning up?
Okay, so we're not supposed to touch any of it because there are some who believe that if you start taking care of it, you will be expected to. And
Okay.
we simply cannot. We do not have the people to do that. So we have cleared trees that have fallen there. And not that anyone's going to study the map that I handed out, but if you were to look at it closely, you will find that there are 18 locations where our trails intersect that multi-use gravel trail. And that's 18 places where we need to maintain line of sight. If you're on a bicycle exiting that trail, approaching the gravel, you need to know if somebody's coming or someone's on foot. So we spend 5 or 6 extra hours a season trimming the gravel,
Yeah.
the brush on the sides of the gravel so people can see, but that's it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Couple questions. I wasn't familiar this was there. I apologize for that. This has been very helpful to me. Are the trails marked with signs? Is there proper signage or
Okay,
proper
there-
surfaces?
Yeah, there are, so the multi-use trail is gravel. All the other trails are what we call single-track dirt trails. There is signage in the parking lot with the park rules, as well as warnings, the big one is, no motorized vehicles are allowed. So, I'm sure people that have e-bikes, most of the e-bikes people would buy are allowed in there. But in essence, if you're coming out to the park, you need to be either on foot or on a bicycle. That's usually how it works. A lot of people love to walk their dogs out there. We see tons of dog walkers. If you come to do that, it's a great place to do it, but the only rule is keep your dogs on leash. They must remain on leash while you're there. But yeah, a lot of people, these trails were finished and ready to promote, and then COVID happened. And so it didn't some of us have been maintaining the Facebook page for years, but that's been the extent of it. And we're fairly active on there, but there's, no other, real way to promote them. But we get lots of regular visitors from Delaware County, from Muncie, Newcastle, Anderson, Richmond. A lot of people come out. They're fairly established at this point.
Any other questions?
I just want to personally thank you. I didn't know about it either.
Yeah.
My kid, I homeschool my kids, and a lot of times our field trips are out on those trails. So thank you for making that possible.
Oh, awesome.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have been out there. I've actually rode on the trails, and you guys have done a lot of work. So I appreciate the work you guys have done, and working with Tawny and the team out there at Prairie Creek. So
Yeah, Tawny and Dustin have been great. They've gotten us a bunch of new signage this season, which has been really helpful. So, thank you.
thank you guys. Appreciate all you guys for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
And that'll lead us directly into the Prairie Creek report.
Good evening, board.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thaddeus was on my list of people to thank. I didn't see you hiding over there. I've worked with Thaddeus a lot this year. He let me know where signs were needed to keep everybody safe. That's why we got those. If you've been on those walking trails, those are our cleanest trails. I didn't know about them out there either. I had no idea who was keeping those so clean, and he came in and it made a lot of sense. So it's nice to meet all you guys. But Thaddeus has been amazing, not only just cleaning the trails, cutting them, doing all of that work. They came in, they were painting benches to put out there for us this year. So
Wow.
they are awesome. Thank you guys very much for that. We just finished up our season at Prairie Creek Campground. They're open sometimes through the day because American Water is putting up a fence to stop people from coming in those woods over into the campground. So that's great. That's going to help a lot with security next year.
What side is that?
That is on the north side of the campground.
And American Water's actually putting that up.
Yep.
Is that going to stop the people that were stealing? Is that where they were
That's
popping
where they
out
were
at?
coming from, yes.
Yeah.
What kind of fence are they putting up?
I
Do you have any idea?
don't know.
Or height or?
It's like an $80,000 fence though. So it should do some good keeping them out. It's pretty tall.
Great.
If they ever straighten up, you guys should hire them because they did some good trail work over there. They cleared those out. But so I've worked with all the groups this year. I just want to thank them for finishing my first year. It's been pretty successful for me. Thanks to these people. Greg from the Horse Trails, Joe from Sailboat, he's getting ready to finish up his leadership at the Sailboat, so I want to really thank him. He's done a lot for the reservoir. But you guys, George and Carl and Dustin, all of them helping me be successful this year. We've been meeting with a lot of people in law enforcement and the mayor last week to discuss security for next year. We have a lot of ideas that are going to be pretty good. Just have to work out some of the budget for that. We have been given okay to go forward with the flock cameras. Those will read license plates for like a quarter mile. They also allow law enforcement in town to have a live view of the reservoir and see what's going on, and they pair with FBI. So that's really good. That's going to help out a lot as well. We've been doing some work in the education center, Carly and I. We have a sandbox in there now. We have been doing the prehistoric wall. Everything in there was in Indiana at one point. So the kids will be able to dig for fossils. Right now we just have like regular fossils, but they will have dinosaur fossils next year that they can take home. So that's pretty cool. The guys have been pulling out the piers, doing a lot of cleanup of the shoreline. So that's what they've been doing. And mowing since it's so warm. And yeah, that's what we've been working on. And the leases for next year, we've got a lot of that taken care of. And you can now book online too for a 2025 season. We've got that set up. So if you're like doing Ironman, you can book that now. And I have one event for approval. It's Jackie Cisco's wedding. It is going to be May 17th from 8 a.m. to 11. They're going to do their wedding and their reception. It's 50 to 80 people. No security. It's private. Friends and family. The wedding is going to be on the east side of the reservoir somewhere. American Water closed off the spot that we were looking at to use, so we're working with them to pick an area. The reception will be in the community building. They will not have any vendors.
They asking for anything additional from us outside of just the building?
No.
Any questions on the event?
Are we open to any type of food being brought in when the community center is used for events like this? Or do we require licensed catering?
That's more like a health department. I don't know how far they go. I know with it being closed for family and friends, I don't think they require it.
In a private event?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wondered. I wasn't sure if we did or didn't, because I know some places do.
Yeah, we require it if the health department does, but they don't for the closed events.
Yeah, for a public event, it'd have to follow the health board and the permits that are associated with that.
Okay.
But we don't have a partnered vendor or like a required list. It's anybody that can qualify for health board.
Okay.
Any other questions on the wedding event? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Congratulations, Jackie, if you're watching.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions for me?
The flock cameras, do we have a target install on those?
I think they're gonna start doing those anytime. They said that we could start paying them in January, because
Okay.
that was a concern.
So contract starts in January with them then?
Yes, but they're gonna start installing those probably in December.
What are flock cameras?
It
They-
is the same camera systems that they've used around the city. So it goes into a database and it's a license plate identification, and then they can also pull history based on events.
Yeah,
So they're not actively monitored per se outside of the
if you need,
digital software that's in there.
they can link vehicles to missing people, just want people who are wanted, stolen cars.
Yep.
So
And
that's pretty.
will those just be at the entrance of the campground or?
Over the next
Secret.
couple years, we're working on having several out there. We are starting, I think, with 2 or 3. One will be at the campground, and then one at the boat launch, and then the beach. Those are our 3 main points that we want to hit this year.
Points of vehicle entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Tony?
I just want to thank you for your extra time you put in on the theft ring we had there for a month or so.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate that.
Thank you. And happy birthday.
Was anyone ever caught? Do you know? Or you don't know?
We have an idea of
I think it's
vehicles involved in it.
still open investigation, isn't it? Yeah. So we probably,
We've given all that to law enforcement.
yeah, Tony and the team out there worked well with engaging with the campers and trying to get some resolution there. So that's been great. Any other questions for Tony? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Next on the agenda, we've got old business. It's got Prairie Creek rates on there, but that's actually should be rules. So we reviewed rules last month. We made a few minor changes there and shared those updated changes with the board. And I guess need to see if we need to have any further discussion or if we're ready to present those potentially for a vote.
I have not had a chance to review what was sent to me
Okay.
since I was working. So I'd prefer we wait to vote on that next month if it's not a pressing issue.
Tawny, when do you plan to send out leases? in December still, or are they gonna be in January?
I would say the middle of January.
Okay,
They were
What-
getting sent out a little bit later the year before, but I want to give everybody time to like plan for it.
okay. So that was, Tawny indicated they'll go out in mid-January. So I don't think that we've got any pressing reason to get those approved. I would like to try to get them on the agenda for December, so we can have those going into the new year. That's kind of where we're at there. Any other questions on the rules?
Have there been any new iterations
Just
since last month?
Just from last month, the discussions we had, I think we had 3 changes that I made and updated to those. But outside of that, there's been no other changes or requests for changes, and I've not received any other feedback outside of the meeting last month. So,
Is that in the new document that you sent us?
yeah, the newest one.
And is it in markup?
I don't know which copy I sent you guys, if I sent you the marked up or
I didn't see any markups.
the
I think
clean
mine was a
version.
clean one.
Yeah, I can send the markup version of
Just
it.
so I know where the changes are.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep.
Appreciate your work and all that.
Then the other item we've got on old business is we had discussed the leases. Fundamentally, there's nothing different. I guess, Tawny, I don't know if you want to add anything there. Dates changed on the leases and reiterated some of the items that were previously included in the rules as well.
Yeah,
Included,
mostly just the dates. I think for the docks, we did add the marine grade line.
yep, which was a detail in the rules as well. that we
Because if it's
included.
not marine grade, it pulls on those new docks and it rips them out. Once those are ripped out, you can't really fix it. It's cost a lot to keep up with them if we keep ripping everything out of them.
So are there any changes beyond the dates?
Just that one to the dock,
For what?
the marine grade line for the docks, for dock leaseholders. I do have a copy I can get you guys as well. I brought one.
I think I sent those out either today
Last
or
night.
yesterday.
Those were redlined?
Yep,
Yeah.
those
Just
were.
the one red word?
I think it was highlighted yellow in that copy.
It is, yeah.
Are we going to open it up for public review again?
We certainly can. Like I said, conceptually, the lease didn't change.
Not
Just
at
the-
all.
Just the update on the dates.
Okay. And the rules?
Yeah, I mean, the rules, anybody's welcome to email or
Okay.
send communication either to the Prairie Creek office or the main office, or reach out to any of the board individually, so. Any questions on the leases, or do we want to approve, a vote to approve those? To go out?
I'd move approval on the leases.
Yeah, if there's no changes needed,
Yeah.
I'd second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign.
I'll
Great.
abstain.
I guess any abstain, I guess we got one, so. I think we had 3 ayes on approval, so. Thank you, Tony. Any other new business from the board? I know we've got one here from the legal team regarding the, and I'm gonna get the name wrong, the Coming to the Buffalo or Vision of the Buffalo.
It's the passing of the
Passing.
buffalo.
I knew there was a buffalo in there, but it's not the buffalo.
Well, good evening. I'm Mara Hoff. I'm a partner with Defer Varan, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Community Enhancement Projects Incorporated. 3 or 4 years ago, we were asked to look at the passing of the buffalo statue and its surrounding area and see if there was any more improvement we could do to it. And as you know, we've added a lot of lighting, we've redone all the landscaping, and as part of that process, we noticed the statue might need a little love as well. We then embarked on a very long process, learning a lot about wax and patina and laser removal of things on this statue. We obtained multiple quotes. We considered short-term fixes, and ultimately, we've landed on a fix that should last us 20 to 22 years by some professionals out of Illinois. And the reason I am here tonight in front of you is because there is a fund at the Community Foundation that specifically says funds can be distributed to the Parks and Recreation Board, City of Muncie, to be used for the preservation and maintenance of the Passing of the Buffalo statue, the bronze plaques, and the granite boulder base. In discussions with the Community Foundation, they are comfortable distributing that money directly to CEP as a 501c3 entity. We would take over financial responsibility for appropriately spending those funds and reporting back to the Community Foundation. So what they need from you is a written resolution that both authorizes the release of the available funds, and that balance is currently around $32,000, and then redirecting those funds to CEP. Just so you know, the entire project is estimated to cost around $55,000. We are obtaining private funding to cover the rest of that project. So this will cost the city nothing. It's just an authorization for the Community Foundation to give those grant funds directly to CEP for the project. I'm happy to answer any questions if I am able.
So you're asking for the entire balance of the fund?
It's the entire spendable balance.
It's an endowment, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes. And we have worked with the Petty family. They are in support of this project.
And they set up the original endowment, right?
Yes.
Any other questions?
With that amount, do we need to solicit other quotes? Even though it's not a city project? I'm not.
Well, I'm not your legal counsel, but I would,
No, I'm not asking.
opine that you would not need to.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because they're
Because of-
restricted funds for us.
Restricted funds and under the amount
Yep.
where you have to get competitive bidding.
Okay.
Good question, though. Any other questions? Not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Second, or so moved?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all very
Thank you.
much.
This is great.
Any other new business from the board? Any other event approvals from the board or the public? Any names on our list? Nikki's shaking her head. Any other comments from the public? Carl?
Hey, I do have a couple questions. Sorry. One question, is the Teal Pond, is that a dead issue now?
I don't believe so. Last I knew, it was still in the process of requesting quotes. I don't know if any of those have came in or where that's at. It was federally approved, so the money's allocated for that. But I've not followed up on that recently.
Because isn't there a timeline on this thing? On this money?
It is, but I think it's a pretty lengthy
Yeah.
timeline.
They'll wait. I mean, the permit processes can, as you know, be tedious. So typically, a lot of those federal dollars for these types of, they'll give you 5 years out.
Okay.
I am going to be listening to the outdoor recreation legacy program webinar tomorrow, which is a similar grant to the LWCF, which we received for Till Pond. So to learn more about that federal program, which is a 50-50 matching grant that we may use for a park project, which we would fit the criteria for, be perfect, Muncie be perfect for one of those grants.
Any other questions, Jim?
Yeah, and were we able to obtain any of them lights from the Sportsplex? The light poles or any of the fencing?
I knew you weren't done.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Carl.
again, Carl from Parks. We had talked with sanitation, and their guys are kind of in the process of communicating with George, and that could happen any day going forward to take some of those lights down and put those lights in storage so we can have them for West Side Park. That's also part of that West Side Park project. Excuse me. Yeah, beautifying West Side Park with those lights. We were able to go out and get some picnic tables and benches from there. We're in the process of taking down the scoreboards. We're going to take 5 of those and store them. And then we had the fencing removed by a private company. So we've done quite a bit so far that can help our Parks Department. Like I say, the lights it could happen tomorrow. It's just a matter of coordinating.
So I know we kind of had a few of us had a discussion after the meeting last month, bring everybody else up to speed there. So with the sports pecs closing out there on the outside of town there, the equipment that there became available to use for the city. So Carl and George worked with Jim there some as well on coordinating, recovering lights, recovering the picnic benches, some of the fencing fabric, and some other scoreboards you mentioned.
Right.
So essentially at little or no cost to be able to recover materials that we'd use at other parks.
Yep.
I was just asking, I was doing some talking with some businesses to try to help get these lights, and Dustin said it was taken care of, so I didn't have to, he told me to stand down.
It sounds like sanitary district is helping us
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Excellent.
Correct. And like I talked with Travis today, one of our leads, and he has stated that there just need to be a communication timeline between George and start time with sanitation.
Do we have poles at West Side?
We do have.
Okay.
We do have. We have existing poles. We can just remove the lights and then put these lights up on those poles and
Okay.
bring some lights to that softball diamond so we got to get that diamond to a point where it's inviting. It just doesn't look inviting and when you ride by it. So that's the plan to redo that and just have it looking like a usable softball diamond, baseball diamond.
And is the city giving you more budget money with the extra parks we're adding to you?
No, we have not visited that, and we were talking about it in our 5-year plan coming up that we need to really put those numbers in there and have some discussion about what we need to keep working forward with our parks. Because that is a good question. We are doing what we can within the funds that we have. So it needs to be a discussion as we continue to improve on our parks.
Is the 25 budget fundamentally stayed the same as the 24 budget?
Yes,
right?
correct.
Yep.
Carl, question on the lights, and this may be out of my ignorance, I don't know. With a lot of lights out there were, what, 4 or 5 diamonds? Will there be extra lights that might be able to be used to help us with some of the vandalism problems?
I know there was some discussion about amount of lights when I spoke with the mayor, and I think the mayor had a discussion with maybe Muncie Central to put some lighting there at their baseball field, and then the other lights that we thought we might need were just the lights that we needed. There still may be a bunch of lights still out there. So the lights that I was talking about was just what I knew about from the mayor as for West Side Park and Muncie Central. So I would say, yes, there's still lights out there to be used.
I was saying with some of the vandalism issues we've had at 2 or 3 of the parks, sometimes light helps prevent some of that.
Correct.
So,
Correct. And that might be something George and I can make some phone calls tomorrow to maybe think about some safety, security lighting going up in some of those areas.
That'd be good.
That's a great idea.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion from the board?
I just want to wish James Lutton happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jim. We won't sing to you tonight.
We want it to be a happy birthday.
Nobody needs that on recording. So. No other questions. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.